I Speedran Bannerlord as Derthert using the Start as Anyone mode, which means we began the game already crowned as king with some high level skills. Our butter boy has a shitty build, but still enough to get the job done. But there's a catch. Legend has it, a Battanian witch, desperate for vengeance after her village was burned to the ground during a routine butter extraction, cursed Derthert's crown, which now rests on his balding skull like a ticking time bomb. And every season, our mighty monarch wakes up to find yet another part of himself has stopped working, meaning one of Derthert's starting skills with at least one focus point gets nuked to 0, all focus points gone, skill deleted, brain summoned. To prevent cheese, I am not allowed to assign new focus points to any skills that didn't already have one. One season, he forgets how to hold a sword, another season, he forgets how to walk, and when all 12 starting skills drop to 0, he forgets how to breathe. Derthert dies, his family dies, I die in real life. The run is failed, so the goal is clear. Conquer the entire continent before the timer runs out. To give you an idea of how tight the deadline is, one season is 21 days, and sometimes conquering a single town can take over 10 days if you need to destroy the walls and starve the garrison into submission. And we have a lot of towns in our way. We start with 12 skills that have focus points, which gives us 252 days in total before the last skill vanishes. Most campaigns take over 1000 days to finish, so this is already a nightmare. To slightly balance things, every time a kingdom is destroyed, Derthert is allowed to restore one of skill to its original state. It still might be impossible, but since time is bleeding out faster than Valandian loyalty during tank season, let's begin. Maximum difficulty as always. By the way, I am using diplomacy, Fourberie and ChatAI modes to maximize those Game of Thrones style intrigues. First thing I do is rush to my keep in Sargot to take my one and only daughter's consent to get sold off as a political breeding machine for the good of our people and kingdom.
Father, with all due respect, I am not some broodmare to be bartered.
Shut up there! You are too young to know how the world works!
I will not be sold off like a prize pig.
So I married her to Unkid's son. With the diplomacy mode, kingdoms can't declare war if their rulers are tied by marriage. And now, me and Unkid are co-fathers-in-law, which means our southern borders are now stable, as long as my daughter and her new husband stay alive. Then I called my clan members to my party. Those who already had parties of their own were summoned to form an army. By the way, we can't have more than 3 clan parties at the same time when starting as another lord, while in vanilla you can have up to 5. Kind of inconvenient, but it shouldn't be a major problem, I guess. Anyway, I managed Sargot's construction projects for maximum tax efficiency. Then I started stripping its garrison of every high tier soldier I could find. After that, I assigned random attributes to my underage children. If they actually come of age, that means we already lost the challenge. Then I traveled to Talwell Castle, maximized its taxes, and drained its garrison for more elite troops. Afterwards, I signed 3 key policies to turn Derthert's divine right into written law, sacred majesty for steady influence, noble retinues, and royal guard to boost party size. After visiting Derthert's last remaining fief, Gallant, we had finally gathered a remarkable force under our command, 600 battle-hardened soldiers. The game starts with Valandia already at war with Storchia, so after spending every last drop of influence to rally nobles to our banner, we marched north to kick off our conquest. On the way, I recruited some Battanian archers, while at a Valandian dive, when there are perfectly good 3 dwelling peasants to take the hits instead. Before we even reached the front lines, one of our armies had already managed to capture a castle from the Storchians, but the beer-riding lunatics had already assembled a massive counterattack. We intercepted the battle, 700 Storchians versus 1600 Valandians. Fate was firmly on our side. A Valandian vanguard was promoted and became a companion of Derthert. He was trained to serve as our field surgeon. The battle was won with minimal casualties. Several enemy lords were taken prisoner. Many of our troops leveled up. The loot was discarded to give even more experience to the army. By the way, here's our new companion, Leonard, the healer. Then we moved on to Warchik and began the siege. I built trebuchets to break down the walls. But before the siege could finish, Dragonvat, Prince of Storchia, and his army interrupted us. This time, the balance of power was evenly matched. Our army was mostly composed of crossbowmen, so we positioned ourselves atop a massive hill and waited for the enemy to come to us. Three of our banner knights earned massive kill counts. The first was trained to become a steward, the second a blacksmith, the third an engineer. Almost 300 of our soldiers were killed, and 200 more were wounded, but at least 140 of the survivors were upgraded. The loot was discarded again for extra experience, and here are the new companions. Orenhard the steward, fat and majestic. Andre the blacksmith, a massive terrifying dwarf. And Ethelstan the engineer, deadly and efficient. Only role we still needed was a scout. Anyways, we continued the siege and finally destroyed the city's walls. I didn't wait to start the garrison for obvious reasons. A Valandian Volunteer was promoted. He was trained to become our scout and future spy master. This time, we sold the loot, because our new steward doesn't have the same perk Derthert does. And here's the promoted Volunteer, Bran the thief, the only child of a wife-beater and a prostitute. Warcheck was granted to Berukan, and we had already reached the end of the season. The challenge is doomed to fail if we keep going at this pace. I chose Trade as the first skill to fall, since we don't have time to use it anyway. Then we besieged another Stygian castle and launched the assault after building a battering ram. This castle was also gifted to Berukan. Then the Stygians came crawling back, begging for peace, offering to pay us 6,000 dinars per day. I accepted. Our vassals could form much stronger armies with that tribute for the wars to come. Following days were spent restocking our soldiers. Then I had a talk with my oldest son, Erdurant. He really did a good job against those Stygians. Daddy is proud of him.
Ha, your praise warms me, sire. Those Sturgeons learned a harsh lesson that day.
Son, I hope this doesn't come off as disrespectful, but I gotta ask, are you a virgin?
By the saints, sire, such a question is most unbecoming. I am a knight of Vlandia, not some tavern wench to be quizzed on matters of the bedchamber.
I ask this because I am going to buy you a hoe who bank day and night. You are about to get married, son. Be happy.
By the rude, sire, I am no mere pup to be bought and sold with carnal favors. Marriage is a sacred bond, not a transaction to be arranged with hot hoes. I will choose my own bride.
So I married him to a Battanian baddie, not from a ruler clan though, so we can still declare war on Battania. Speaking of which, after recruiting more troops and enacting tribunes of the people, royal commissions, state monopolies and council of the commons policies, my lords demanded we declare war on Battania. So after marching to their borders, we declared war. Then I called the strongest lords to my army and began the siege of Abkumer Castle. With 2,200 men and a battering ram, we started the assault. Easy victory with minimum casualties. Our army had generously donated too many troops to the garrison. This kind of charity is unheard of in Vlandia, so we had to take them back and return them one by one, earning free influence in the process. The castle was gifted to Ingalter. Then two Battanian armies came to take their castles back. 2,000 Vlandians versus 1,500 Battanians. The battle unfolded on a bridge under heavy rain, slowing movement and projectile speed. The enemy had an embarrassingly low number of archers. Battanians really hate their own fiend champions for some reason. They were outnumbered and our crossbowmen shredded them in no time. After the bolts ran out, we led a full charge across the bridge. A Vlandian Volger racked up 17 kills. These guys are built different. We promoted him and trained him as a blacksmith. One of the enemy lords died on the battlefield. After calling more lords to our army, we besieged Pancanok. With only tier 1 walls defending it, we started the assault with a battering ram and 2 siege towers. Oh shit, it's too dark. Let me fix that for you. All in all, not too many casualties, and their king, Caladog, was captured. I claimed the city for my clan using the right of first refusal. After selling every piece of loot except the weapons, managing the town, and returning garrison troops back to the army, I traveled to Apkumer Castle to defend it from Bethanians once more. The battle leveled up many of our crossbowmen. We were building an indestructible army with each engagement. The weak die, and the strong grow stronger. One of our armies had already besieged Lanokhan Castle, so we left it to them and moved on to Aster Castle. With tier 2 walls and a tiny garrison, it wasn't much of a challenge. After the castle's fall, I had a short conversation with our prisoner king, Caladog. You are losing the war, you barbarian filth. I will make your children my slaves and your women my concubines.
By the spirits, Derthert, such vile words from a Vlandian dog, you mistake bluster for strength. And while you are here, perhaps you could be of some use. I have been on campaign for much of
The man still tries to offer me quests. I guess that's the greatest humiliation he could deliver. Anyway, another season had ended. This time, I sacrificed my bow skill. Derthert is too clumsy to use it anyway. Then I besieged Dungalot. Capturing one more town before peace would be huge. It would cripple Battania for the rest of the game. But during the siege, the Storchians declared war again, and the Battanian army besieged Pancanok. We needed to finish this quickly. We took heavy casualties, but at least Derthert had a new town. We quickly managed the town and rushed to defend our fiefs. First, Viatax's army of 500 was besieging Aster Castle. Then Tegan's army of 400 was besieging Pancanok. After another crushing defeat, the Battanians begged for peace, offering 2,000 dinars per day. We accepted and focused on replenishing our exhausted clan parties. Before we could arrive, the vodka enjoyers had already retaken Warshak and were besieging one of our castles. We intercepted. Numbers were equal, so we waited for them to start the siege while our lords gathered around us. Soon, we had doubled their numbers. After crushing their army, we besieged Warshak again. After building the melee siege engines, we launched the assault. Warshak was ours once again. With the influence gained from non-stop battles, I enacted policies that gave Derthert even more money, at the expense of other clans, of course. Daddy needs to make sure his kids don't waste the budget. Then I passed a loyalty policy and pushed deeper into the snowy lands of Storchia. 2 enemy armies were caught along the way. Numbers were equal. After a decisive victory, I sent a messenger to one of the fiefless Storchian clan leaders. I tried to bring him to our side, but after 4 consecutive failures, he rejected our proposal. It seems Derthert's disgusting personality makes recruiting lords difficult, but warmongering is always an option. We besieged another castle. During the siege, another season passed. This time, throwing skill was sacrificed to the curse of the crown. Then, I started the assault. A banner knight proved himself during the battle. I promoted him and trained him in leadership, stewardship and medicine. He was named Ulgarik the First Knight, and in true feudal fashion, Derthert made him a real knight by gifting him a castle and a title. Every time we have 500 influence, 20,000 dinars, and an available companion, we can do this again. It might even be more efficient than regular recruiting. Anyway, we summoned more lords and continued our conquest. Another castle besieged. Another castle fell. Mazadan castle was besieged by the enemy, but since one of our armies was nearby, I shifted focus to Omor instead. The city was too fortified for a direct assault, so we destroyed its walls with massive trebuchets and began to attack. Another soldier was promoted. Derthert claimed Omor for himself. Then we spoke with one of our prisoners, Oleg, with 2 ineffective attempts, 1 success and 1 critical success. He rejected us with only 1 persuasion check left. Anyway, the promoted soldier became Vlandia's newest lord instead, Ulpo the second knight. Meanwhile, our army failed to protect Mazadan castle. While rushing to retake it, a peace proposal arrived. The Storgians offered to return the castle and pay 3,000 dinars per day. It was simply too good to refuse. As for the rest of the world, the Northern Empire was growing uncontrollably, while the Western Empire was falling apart. I always go for the weaker fish. But before that, we had business to take care of. I traveled to Bethanian lands and bought as much hardwood as I could. After recruiting a few soldiers along the way, I returned to Sargot. Then I entered the smithy and started dismantling all our looted weapons with help from my many companions. Once we had enough materials, we began forging weapons using the family Sword WES mode. The small number of templates made it easier to unlock high tier parts, but to forge them, we needed Tamaskene steel. I used all my blacksmith companions' energy to turn iron into Tamaskene. Eventually, we had enough to forge a massive 2-handed sword worthy of being caressed by Derthert's pale, submissive hands. Its name was Excalibur. The first one was Duel. We dismantled it and tried again the next day. That one was Duel too. Since I couldn't waste all my remaining days forging swords, I settled for it. Then I bought a giant fringed helmet from Sargot's store. Meanwhile, another season had passed. I sacrificed the crossbow skill this time. Only 8 skills remains. That means just 168 days left. Unless we destroy some kingdoms. It was time to declare war on the crumbling Western Empire. We besieged Lageta immediately and started the assault. Time to taste our new toy. It's rather heavy for Derthert, but still a huge improvement. Then it was off to Ortizia. Only Zeonica, Rotue, and a tiny castle remained. We attacked the castle first. Then another companion was knighted and granted the castle, Turrik the third knight. Next, we marched toward the remaining towns. On the way, we caught an enemy army, 3 prisoners. Rote was already being besieged by the Northern Empire, so we headed to Zeonica. By the way, the Southern Empire was dominating the Khuzaids. I am not used to seeing Imperials actually win, and Derthert had high relations with Ragea, which meant we couldn't declare war on her. I swear I didn't flirt with her to raise relations. Zeonica, the last holding of the Western Empire, was packed with enemy parties and a strong garrison. We had to destroy the walls. While the siege engines were dueling, the Storgians declared war again. The walls were destroyed on the final day of the season. We launched the assault. With the fall of Zeonica, the Western Empire was destroyed. We had earned the right to recover one skill. I picked throwing. The very next day, another season ended, so throwing skill was gone once again, as fast as it recovered. After restocking my army with garrison troops, I sent a messenger to a Bethanian lord, Aaron. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on our side at all. Another checklist failed, so I returned north to take care of the Storgians. First, I defended Oakcastle against one of their armies, then it was time to claim their their eastern lands. With the fall of Tagor Castle, another companion was knighted. Afterward, I besieged Balgard. Its walls were tier 3 and 500 defenders were stationed inside. We had to destroy the walls if we wanted any chance of success. It took 6 days. Another season was about to end. We launched our assault. I drained the garrison once again and set the daily defaults to militia. Defending our lands is more important than prosperity right now. During the siege, the Storgians had taken Tagor Castle back. They begged for peace, offering to pay 7,000 dinars daily, but we couldn't afford to waste another moment in peace. Our conquest had to speed up if we wanted to keep Derthert's head on its shoulders, as another season had already ended. This time, I sacrificed the one-handed skill. Those tiny swords aren't really my taste anyway. One of our armies besieged Tagor to take it back again, while we turned our attention to Varnapol. Its walls were tier 1, so we launched the assault with only one battering ram. Then I knighted another companion and gifted him Varnapol, a generous move from the Bannerlord. Then a rebel faction emerged in Valandia. Ingarthar's clan was plotting to separate their lands from the kingdom. He was in my army, so I asked him why he was conspiring to rebel against me. Then I sucked his a bit to gain his favor.
Your grace conspiring by the saints, I would never. You are a strong and just ruler, and Valandia prospers under your banner. Perhaps some envious tongue has poisoned your ear with lies. I swear on my honor I am loyal.
Mission successful. Then I joined the siege of Sibir. With 2 armies combined, there was no need for siege engines. After destroying another Stygian army, I gifted Sibir to my 5th knight and accepted the Stygians' peace proposal. Looking at the map, it seemed the Southern Empire was starting to lose their lead. Anyway, I started sending messengers to land the Stygian lords. Vashorki was preceded with 100k dinars. I gifted him Omor. The relation gain leveled me up immediately. I put the focus points into charm to make it easier to recruit more vassals. Then I sent a messenger to Fafen. He joined after I gave him 500,000 dinars. Then I tried my luck with Oleg. Old bastard was still royal to Ragnvad even though he had no fiefs left. So I moved on and sent a messenger to a low-tier Battanian lord. He joined for 500,000. Then I summoned a massive army to finish off Battania. But before I could declare war, my vassals decided to declare war on the Northern Empire instead. We didn't have enough influence to stop them. The Northern Empire was strong, but maybe it was time to end their spree. With 1,700 men, I marched toward their lands. First stop, Yarsegos Castle. Another companion was knighted. Then we attacked Rote's weak walls with no siege engines. My idiotic army decided to donate 400 troops to its garrison. Yeah, this will take a while. Then it was time to take Emtatis in the same fashion. Then a companion became a raid knight. One of our armies was pushing into the Northern Empire from the north. Another season had ended. I sacrificed the steward skill since we already had someone covering that. Anyway, time to take another castle. And the Northern Empire finally decided to answer our conquest. Rote was besieged. We destroyed their army and took another castle. The rebellious Ingalter died during the siege. May he rest in pieces. Rote was besieged again, but this time our vassals handled it. The Northern Empire came crawling for peace, offering to pay us 11,000 dinars per day. I accepted, as their kingdom grows weaker every day under that enormous tribute. Ours will only grow stronger. Seemed like a better deal than trying to take more land right now. I searched for fiefless Northern Empire clans, but they all still had at least one, so I sent messengers to Crusade Lords instead. The first joined for 650k dinars. To gather more gold for future recruits, I dismantled all my looted weapons and crafted expensive gear using the materials. Then another Crusade Lord joined for 500,000. Then came a marriage offer for our boy, Morkon, a fine Valandian cave, fitting for his Valandian train. The following day was spent smithing again to refill our treasury. Then it was time to declare war on Battania. One of their armies was besieging our precious co-father-in-law's castle. We declared war straight away and wiped them out. Sadly, the battle inflicted many casualties, but we had to keep pushing. More lords joined our army. Another castle was besieged. Then the Lenogan castle. Then it was time to take their capital, Marinat. During the siege preparations, the Stygians declared war yet again. We swiftly launched our assault. Once again, many brave Valandians fell in Derthert's name. Our kingdom was undeniably powerful, but the conquest was moving far too slowly for our challenge. We would surely fail at this pace. Then I remembered I had the Fourberie mode installed, so I appointed Brand the Thief as our spymaster and gifted him a horde of low-tier recruits to train as saboteurs. This man would be crucial for future sieges once their training completed. Another Battanian army fell. One of our prisoners, Aaron, changed his mind and decided to join our cause for 300k dinars. Other lords weren't so easily convinced. Another castle was besieged. Another season ended. This time, the polearm skill was sacrificed as we weren't doing many field battles anymore. The Stygians were trying to reclaim their lands. Battanians begged for peace. We accepted so we could deal with the Stygians once and for all. Their army of 500 got crushed. All the lords were imprisoned. Then we besieged Revel and started the assault with a single battering ram. Derthert granted the town to himself. 7 saboteurs were ready for their first mission. Afterwards, Oleg joined us for 200k dinars. We assaulted Stockholm Castle. More saboteurs were trained. Another companion was knighted. We traveled east to finish off the last Stygian thieves. Along the way, I kept sending messengers to their lords, but they weren't exactly fans of Derthert. Before we could reach the Eastern Front, the Northern Empire declared war, so we shifted our focus. We sent saboteurs to sap the wall. They succeeded. One of the walls was destroyed. We launched the assault after preparations finished. I created only 2 formations, infantry and archers, and positioned them to take full advantage of the breach. With only 17 casualties, we took Epicrotia. This was a game changer. By sacrificing just 6 to 10 saboteurs, we could take down towns faster and safer. More saboteurs joined our ranks. One of their castles fell. Our 10th knight joined the kingdom. We didn't have enough saboteurs to sap Diatma's walls, so we handled it the old-fashioned way. We brought the new saboteurs into our party. Our vessels were pushing from the center, so we moved in from the north and besieged Argoron. After sapping the wall and completing the siege prep, another season ended. This time, I sacrificed riding. As I said before, we don't need Derthert to be strong in field battles. That part is easy. Actually, we don't need Derthert to be strong at all. With the fall of Argoron, the Northern Empire's war exhaustion bar nearly maxed out. We kept pushing forward. On the way, the Battanians declared war, and the Northern Empire offered to pay 10,000 dinars daily for peace. We accepted and traveled north to finish off the Stygians for real this time. Meanwhile, 3 of our armies were heading west to deal with Battania. Uriskala Castle fell without issue. Same with Vladiv Castle. More companions were knighted. A Stygian army got destroyed. Now it was time to take their last thief. Trial. Walls were set. Assault launched. A A Khan's guard was promoted to a companion. Siege successful. On the 14th day of autumn 1086, the Storgians were no more. I recovered my riding skill. My lords were demanding war with the Crusades. Perfect timing and perfect position. They were weak, we were strong as fuck. We besieged Dinar Castle. Then it was time for Balticant. Derthert claimed this town as well. Our daily profits hit a whopping 20,000 dinars. By the way, our vassals were besieging Sionon. They might be able to destroy Battania without us lifting a finger. Battania begged for peace. We refused and continued smashing the Crusades. Another season ended. Riding was gone once again. Only 4 skills left, and more than half the continent still remained. We needed to hurry up. With the fall of Hortengard, the Crusade war exhaustion hit 75. We had to deal with them quickly so we could shift back to the Northern Empire, who had declared war again. First on the list, Monchuk's army of 500. After the battle, our armies captured Sionon. Battania now had only 1 town and 2 castles left. Then came the siege of Chaikant. During the siege, Battania begged for peace. We accepted so our armies could focus on the Northern Empire instead. Then we launched the assault. With the fall of Chaikant, the Crusades also begged for peace. We accepted. Our full attention now turned to the Northern Empire. We changed our war strategy to offensive and started offending them very, very hard. We maxed out our charm for even easier recruitment. The Northern Empire besieged Argoron. We were heading there, leaving a trail of blood and corpses behind us. They managed to take Argoron quickly. We destroyed one of their armies. Then we recruited one of their lords for 700k dinars and gave him Umbrella. Our armies were on the move, ready to finish off the Northern Empire. More sieges followed. Another companion knighted, another army destroyed, another Northern Empire clan joined Valandia, then another season ended. This time I sacrificed athletics. Derthert had now forgotten how to walk, but he continues. Slower, weaker, dumber, but still king. We rejected the Northern Empire's plea for peace and took Myzea. An Astorgian lord who had defected to the Northern Empire defected to us. Another enemy army destroyed. More sieges. Our 16th knight joined the kingdom, then we took down Argoron again. Our vassals were working fast, besieging multiple imperial fiefs. Then the Crusades declared war. We besieged Cyronia. The Northern Empire now had only 5 castles and 2 towns left, one of which was already under siege. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. We besieged Phykeon, then Battania declared war. Phykeon was granted to our 17th knight. Another season ended. This time I sacrificed two-handed. Derthert was now a crippled keyboard warrior. Charm and leadership were too precious to lose. Only 2 seasons left, meaning 42 days, before we all drop dead. If we can't destroy more kingdoms. A few days later, our vassals took Saneopa. We took another castle. Another companion knighted. Poor Northern Empire had only 4 castles left, no towns. Then I decided to leave the Northern Empire and Battania to our vassals. We focused on the remaining Crusade lands. Then a peace proposal from the Northern Empire arrived. I accepted as our own war exhaustion was getting dangerously high. I sent a messenger to one of their lords. We hit a critical fail, so it was time to take Odok. It was granted to our 19th knight. We now had 40 clans under the Valandian banner. The Southern Empire was getting destroyed by the Aserai. Our co-father-in-law was strong, too strong, and he was also in the way of our world conquest. Only 3 Crusade castles remained. The first one fell without a problem. Then a small enemy army was destroyed. Then the second castle. another companion knighted. Our vessels were about to wipe out the Bethanians. As for us, it was time to take the last fief of the Crusades. It was packed with enemy parties, so for the first time I sapped a castle's walls. On the 17th day of summer 1087, the Crusade Kanate was no more. I used my right to recover the two-handed skill. Our vessels were marching toward Bethania's last fief, Carbanset. Meanwhile, we recruited Ergion and declared war on the Akalat rebels, capturing their town. Another season ended. Two-handed skill was lost once again. Then I started sending messengers to Imperial Lords. First one rejected us critically. Second one joined for 700k. The rest didn't even wanna talk. I wanted to declare war on them, but there was still one day left before the peace treaty expired. So we waited. One day later, I tried to declare war, but all of our vessels opposed it for some reason. We didn't have enough influence to shut them up. Time was of the essence to deal with those idiots. Anyway, I waited 5 days for our vessels to finish the siege of Carbanset, but before they could, the Northern Empire declared war. Thank you very much, Lukon. You are far more useful than my own autistic vessels. First on the list, Kaisar Castle, then Epinosa Castle. During preparations, our vessels finally took down Carbanset. On the 15th day of autumn 1087, the Bethanians were no more, which means our two-handed skill is back once again, baby! Anyway, we launched our assault. I was chilling outside the walls while my soldiers did the dirty work. Then something truly unexpected happened. A crossbowman sniped Derthert. Battle ended. A shocking notification appeared. Derthert had died. His fate caught up to him faster than his curse. But his family still remained. Ellery became the new clan leader. He not only inherited his father's crown, but also his skills and his curse. Same rules apply. We still have 3 skills remaining, and if all of them hit 0, it's game over. We assembled our army again and continued the conquest. One of the imperial castles was already under siege. We besieged another, but before our vassals could finish their siege, the Northern Empire managed to take one of our castles. We took it back. Then they took another in the far east. A desperate attempt at survival. Another season ended. Two-handed skill gone once more. Before we could reach that castle, the Northern Empire offered a peace treaty, promising to give the castle back. We accepted. Their only remaining castle was already under siege by the Aserai. A few days later, they lost it. The Northern Empire was no more, which means two-handed skill is back again! Only the Southern Empire and the Aserai remained. One is a dear friend, the other is our co-father-in-law. We had to find a way to declare war, so I sent a messenger to Ragea. While the messenger was en route, one of my vessels, Sein, sent a marriage proposal to my widowed mother, Philonira. So, in a totally calm and responsible manner, I spent 600 influence to take Carbanset, his clan's town, and hand it over to another vessel. That should teach him to respect my unquestionable control over my mother's long life. Anyway, the messenger arrived. Rakia was resting in one of my towns, Zionica. Ah, Rakia, the whore queen of Calradia. My eyes are blessed to witness your slutty face.
By the gods, Alari, whore queen, you say. Know this, I rule with the strength and wisdom the gods granted me, not with favors bartered in the night.
Rule with strength and wisdom, you say. Don't make me laugh. You are as weak and stupid as a newborn baby.
Weak and stupid, am I? Perhaps you mistake generosity for weakness. I have been on campaign for much of this year, and I have not been able to go around to my estates collecting the rent.
You stupid hoe! I am not helping you with anything. Your weakness ruined your dead husband's legacy. He must be rolling in his grave.
Stupid hoe, you say. You presume to judge my late husband's legacy. You know nothing of the burdens I carry, the sacrifices I have made to hold this empire together in the face of treachery and war. Be gone from my sight. Your presence is as welcome as a plague rat in my halls.
Your halls? Zionica is my land. And when I declare my war after this, you will be imprisoned, and the rest of your life will be filled with agony and regret.
Zionica is your land, you say. By what right, Derthert? By the right of conquest, perhaps. A right that can be taken away as easily as it was claimed. Perhaps, instead of spewing such venom, you should consider the offer I—
She still tried offering quests? Anyway, now that our relationship was completely annihilated, we declared war. First, on Raphael. With an army of 2,300, we continued marching. Next, Lycaron. Then one of our vassals, Oros, joined us for 800k dinars. Ragia started begging for peace, but it was far too late. Then one of our knights proposed to my mother again. I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with her 50-year-old ass. Oros besieged. Then Onika Castle. The remaining two fiefs were already under siege by our vassals. He promoted another knight and started preparing to declare war on the Aserai. To do that, we need to assassinate our own sister. The chance of success was only 48%. Too risky, each attempt takes about a week. Fortunately, we could increase the odds by assigning emissaries to the Sultanate. So I traveled south, while en route, our vassals finished their sieges. On the 19th day of winter, 1087, the Southern Empire was no more. I recovered the riding skill. Not that it matters, it will be gone again in 2 days. The Sultanate had a respectable 8,000 military strength. I started leaving my non-party skilled companions as emissaries inside Aserai towns. While traveling to the next city, another season ended. Riding skill gone again. I dropped off another emissary. Each one gave a 15% bonus to our assassination chances. The odds reached 78%, but we still had to wait for our tier 6 soldiers to train as assassins. So I left more companions. Success chance now 85%, and one assassin was ready. We launched the operation. We waited. Another knight proposed to my mother. 7 days later, a notification appeared. Unkit and his daughters were mourning the death of my sister. Fortunately, I was not. I sent a messenger to Unkit and asked him for 10 million dinars. I really need it, bro. You know we are the best buddies. I know you are rich, bro. Help me, bro.
Best buddies, 10 million dinars. By the prophet, King Derthert, have you lost your senses? However, I will say this. My campaign this season has been hard on my horses. Bring them to me and I will reward you with 18,713 dinars.
18,000 dinars? That's not enough, Unkit. I need the money to pay for my mother's hospital bills. She is about to die, Unkit.
Hospital bills? King Derthert, what sorcery do you speak of? Are you unwell in the head?
Oh, you greedy bastard. You Aserais are all the same. I know you shit in golden toilets, yet you refuse to help a dying woman.
You speak of golden toilets and refuse to believe in hospitals. What madness is this? Are you truly a king or merely a jester in king's clothing? Now be gone from my sight before I lose my patience entirely.
Can I give you a secret, Unkit? Do you know how your daughter-in-law Alice died? I killed my own sister so I could break the marriage pact between our kingdoms and declare war on you. I will destroy everything on my way, including my family, and of course, including you.
You are a monster, Derthert, a blight upon this world. As for your confession, it changes nothing about my offer. I still need those horses.
Now that our relationship was obliterated, it was time to declare war. First, Wostrom. Then Morania Castle. Then Lavenia Castle. While we attacked from the east, 3 of our vassal armies marched from the west. Danistka besieged. During the siege, Unkit retook Lavenia Castle. He fought his army of 1,000. There were 400 troops in the garrison, so we left it for now. Unkit offered to pay us 20k dinars daily and give Lavenia Castle back. We obviously refused. With so little time left, peace means failure. We besieged Shivalzumr Castle. During the siege, another season ended. Two-handed skill was gone once again. Only charm and leadership remained. The desert was untouched, and we had only 42 days left. We launched the assault. Our army was worn down, so we summoned more lords. Meanwhile, our vassals besieged Kuyaz. We set the war strategy to offensive and besieged Husunfulk. we traveled further south. One of our vassals had besieged Lavenia Castle. We took Tamnur Castle, married our little brother to a Valandian Bedi, and got notified that Unkit had died. Poor Sultan, executed by our Storgian vassal, Hafan. What a merciless bastard! Anyway, we checked on Lavenia Castle. Its garrison of 400 had been starved out by our vassal's party of 90. Why didn't they sell it out? No clue. We helped take the castle and trusted our vassal to handle the remaining eastern Aserai castles. Then we destroyed an Aserai army and besieged Razi. Meanwhile, our vassals in the west took Kuyas and besieged Ainbalik. Vassals in the east were claiming more castles. We took Sahel Castle and besieged Hubyar. Our vassals kept up the momentum. We sent messengers to Fiflis Aserai lords. Avdan joined for 800k, others refused. But now we had 50 clans under the Valandian banner. We took Jamaya Castle and besieged Kasira. Another season ended. Finally, leadership was sacrificed. I kept Charm, just in case we could recruit more lords. Only 21 days left. Time to take Kasira. Our vassals besieged Iakis. We took Medeni Castle and began the siege of Sanala, the richest town in the continent. Only Asgard remained, already under siege by our vassals. They were making their king proud. We sent a messenger to Ialas, Asgard's owner, giving him one last chance to join the new order. He refused, so we marched to the final fief of the Aserai. On the 7th day of autumn 1088, the Aserai Sultanate was no more. With only 14 days left, the challenge was complete. In 363 days, the continent was conquered, every culture assimilated, every batter added to the royal treasury, and only one religion remains. Derthertism. This was one hell of a stressful video to make. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. If you wanna ask anything at all, let's talk in the comments. See you in the next one, guys.